South Korea is still flying a fighter jet whose first operational flights date back to the early 1970s, not out of nostalgia, but because the most dangerous phase of air power modernization is not the arrival of a new aircraft, but the period in between. The continued operation of the F-5 Tiger II inside the Republic of Korea Air Force is a symptom of a broader structural challenge: how to maintain sufficient combat mass and readiness while transitioning from aging legacy platforms to a new domestically developed fighter under persistent regional security pressure. As of early 2025, the remaining KF-5E and KF-5F aircraft have been consolidated at Suwon Air Base under the 10th Fighter Wing. This consolidation followed the disbandment of the 112th Fighter Squadron in December 2024 and the transfer of the 105th Squadron to Suwon in January 2025. Operationally, this move reduces dispersion, simplifies maintenance and training pipelines, and concentrates limited spare parts and technical expertise in a single location. Strategically, it signals that the F-5 Tiger II fleet has entered its final, most tightly managed phase of service, rather than continuing as a broadly deployed frontline asset. The persistence of the F-5 Tiger II in South Korean service cannot be understood without reference to the security environment of the Korean Peninsula. Unlike air forces that can afford to accept temporary reductions in fleet size, South Korea operates under continuous readiness requirements. Air policing, quick reaction alert duties, and training pipelines for new pilots all require a minimum number of airframes that can be flown daily. Retiring the F-5 Tiger II too quickly would create a numerical gap that cannot be filled immediately by newer aircraft, regardless of their superior capabilities. In this context, quantity retains a quality of its own, especially during peacetime deterrence operations that demand constant presence rather than peak wartime performance. At the same time, the risks of operating an aging fleet are no longer theoretical. The F-5 Tiger II has suffered a series of accidents over its long service life, and public awareness of these incidents has grown. A notable crash in January 2022, attributed to suspected engine failure, reinforced concerns about fatigue, obsolescence, and the increasing difficulty of sustaining airworthiness. According to long-term tracking by defense analysts, more than 10 F-5 airframes have been lost in accidents during South Korean service. Each incident intensifies scrutiny of the balance between operational necessity and acceptable risk, particularly when pilots and maintenance personnel must work within the limits of a design conceived half a century ago. Despite these concerns, an immediate withdrawal of the F-5 Tiger II is not operationally feasible. The reason lies in the timing of replacement programs. South Korea's air power modernization has three pillars during this transition phase: the legacy F-5 Tiger II, the light combat FA-50, and the future KF-21. The FA-50, derived from the Advanced Trainer program, provides a capable light fighter and has proven its value both domestically and in export markets. It can assume some missions previously handled by the F-5 Tiger II, particularly training and limited strike or patrol tasks. However, it does not replace the F-5 Tiger II on a one-for-one basis in terms of numbers, nor does it offer the sensor fusion, survivability, and growth potential expected from a next-generation core fighter. The decisive element in this transition is the KF-21 Boramae program. In 2024, South Korea signed the first mass production contract for 20 aircraft, valued at approximately $1.41 billion United States dollars. This marked the shift from development to serial production, a critical milestone for both the Air Force and the domestic aerospace industry. In May 2025, the first production aircraft entered final assembly, with initial deliveries scheduled to begin in 2026. These dates matter because they define the narrow window during which the F-5 Tiger II must remain operational to prevent a shortfall in combat-ready aircraft. However, delivery does not equate to immediate combat readiness. New fighter programs require time to build trained pilot cadres, maintenance crews, logistics chains, and weapons integration. Even if the KF-21 meets its current schedule, the period from 2026 to 2027 will still represent a phase of limited operational capability, rather than full replacement. During this interval, the F-5 Tiger II continues to act as a buffer, absorbing routine tasks and preserving readiness while the new platform matures. This creates what can be described as the most dangerous phase of South Korea's air power transition. 3 scenarios illustrate the stakes. In the first, the KF-21 enters service on schedule and ramps up smoothly. In this case, the F-5 Tiger II can be retired in an orderly manner, reducing operational risk and signaling a successful handover to a new generation of fighters. In the second scenario, the KF-21 experiences a delay of 12 to 18 months, whether due to technical, industrial, or budgetary factors. Under such conditions, the Air Force would be forced to extend F-5 Tiger II operations further, increasing maintenance burdens and accident risk at precisely the moment when public and political tolerance for such risks is declining. In the third scenario, deliveries occur on time, but operational readiness lags behind expectations, creating a capability gap that is less visible but equally dangerous. Budgetary trends suggest that South Korea is acutely aware of these risks. The government has signaled an increase in defense spending for 2026, with a proposed budget of approximately 66.3 trillion Korean won, equivalent to about 47.1 billion United States dollars. This increase reflects not only the demands of regional security, but also the financial reality of sustaining multiple air combat platforms simultaneously. Funding must cover the final years of F-5 Tiger II operation, the ongoing procurement and export support of the F-A-50, and the ramp-up of the KF-21, all while investing in enablers such as munitions, sensors, and command and control systems. For the South Korean public, the F-5 Tiger II's continued presence is therefore not a sign of stagnation, but of disciplined risk management. The aircraft no longer represents the cutting edge of national air power. Instead, it functions as a temporary stabilizer during a period of structural change. The real measure of success will not be how long the F-5 Tiger II remains in service, but how effectively the Air Force manages its withdrawal without exposing gaps in deterrence or readiness. Ultimately, the transition from the F-5 Tiger II to the KF-21 is not merely a technical upgrade. It is a test of South Korea's ability to manage complex defense programs under constant security pressure. The years between 2025 and 2027 will determine whether the country can retire a venerable but increasingly fragile platform while bringing a new, domestically produced fighter into meaningful service. In that sense, the F-5 Tiger II's final missions are less about the past than about buying time for the future.